connected. I don't know. I'm connected. I hope I'm connected. I don't know. Seems like I am. All right, y'all. We're going to be talking about something crazy, entertaining, downright scary, to be honest with you. You remember your textbooks back in grade school? If you my age or 40s, 50s or something like that. Do you remember those big ass textbooks you used to get? You used to cover them up with paper bags, get real crafty with it to make a book cover. But you never really paid attention to who made the books, right? You never even questioned it in the education. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to talk about a picture day. Very simple, very innocent, right? That's what they say. So that's what we're going to delve into. So here's the deal. I bet you didn't know who co-authored your entire childhood. Like I said, 80s, early 90s. Definitely all the books that I encountered in school. Maybe some of the books you encountered, if it's pre-1980, probably not so much. But you were still getting propagandized. I think that's the right way to say it. But the reality is, no matter how you cut it, we were never designed people, regular people, not the elites. We're not talking about the elites. We are, but we're talking about us as we were never designed, or there was never a plan for us to be thinkers, right? To be these world leaders, to change the world with dynamic ideas and progression. No, because there's only room enough at the top, for the elites to make all the money. So what do the elites need, especially if they have all the businesses? They need people to work the business to generate revenue. So that would be us. We're the workers. So guess what? Unbeknownst to you, or maybe you do know, we were designed to just be workers, and that's the education system was the conveyor belt to get us out there in the workforce. Not to be creative thinkers, but just to be a straight up run through this brick wall, and I'm going to pay you $40 every time you do it. Oh, okay. Or I'll give you $20 an hour. You come here every day, you run in this brick wall. You're going to work 8 hours a day. I'm going to give you an hour for lunch, and I might give you a week's vacation, maybe 2 weeks vacation a year. Okay? And then when you beg for a raise because you didn't beat your brains out and your body's all broken, I'm going to say, just can't do it. Revenue's not right, or inflation, or, the economy is just not as strong as it used to be. So I can't support the raise, but, we'll look at it again in 6 months. All that bullshit that they tell you, right? That's us. That's what we were designed for. Use. And when we can't be used anymore, throw them away and get a new one. So McGraw-Hill. Everyone knows McGraw-Hill. And if you don't know McGraw-Hill, let me explain to you who McGraw-Hill is. McGraw-Hill, let's do you one better. Let's go to the research lab. The research laboratory. McGraw-Hill. All right, guys. McGraw-Hill. McGraw-Hill. It would help if I had the window capture, right? Wouldn't it? Here we go. All right, so let's go McGraw-Hill. Who's McGraw-Hill, for those of you who may not know? Oh no, we're not trying to connect. No, I just want some education on McGraw-Hill history. 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 McGraw-Hill. Okay, perfect. Bam. Let's go McGraw-Hill history. So McGraw-Hill, right? Nah. Let's go Wikipedia. If I can find it. The wiki. Wiki. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna stutter and stammer through this, so just bear with me. You can probably just read it yourself. McGraw-Hill Inc. is an American education science company that provides educational content, software, and services for students and educators across various levels, from K-12 to higher education and to professional settings. They produce textbooks, digital learning tools, and adaptive technologies to enhance learning experience, outcomes. It is one of the big three educational publishers, along with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, don't remember them, and Pearson Education, vaguely. McGraw-Hill also published reference and trade publications for the medical business and engineering professions, formerly a division of the McGraw-Hill Companies, later renamed McGraw-Hill Financial. So, oh wow, the company is based in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, yeah, but you know what? Here's the reality. McGraw-Hill, it was founded in 1888 by James McGraw, co-founder. McGraw-Hill purchased an American Journal of Railway Appliances. And he continued to add further publications, eventually establishing McGraw-Hill Publishings in 1899. His co-founder, John A. Hill, also produced several technical trade publications, and in 1902 formed a business, the Hill Publishing Company. So what's really interesting about this is, obviously, this company here was big on education, right? You know, whether it be the you know the railroad systems or anything like that. But then I guarantee you, this is just a speculation on my behalf. I would guarantee that something came about where John D. Rockefeller, who was hugely invested in the domestic education system, and I want to say it was who was his other buddy, his other rich buddy. It was Rockefeller and I forget his other rich buddy. Anyway, he was responsible for the European education system. So these guys were part of the elites, are still part of the elites around the world. Let's not get it twisted. They're up there. They're the hierarchy. So, in saying that, Rockefeller was all about, and he said this, and you can go and research his statements online, that he wants a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. So that was well known. So that was part of the education system. He is the integral part of what we are being taught in the school system. So you combine that with what's being put in the book that houses the information. McGraw-Hill comes into play. So McGraw-Hill in the 80s, let's go about 89. All right, was let's see here, McGraw-Hill, 1989, I believe it was. He partnered with a company that was owned by a guy by the name of Robert Maxwell. And this is Robert Maxwell, guys. Robert Maxwell, born 1923, Czechoslovakia, died in 91, at the Sea of Canary Islands. He was a Czech-British publisher who built an international communications empire. His financial risks led him into grand fraud and an apparent suicide. Now, I'm going to tell you why, a few things about this. There's a few layers here. So, Robert Maxwell, for those of you who don't know, the last name is kind of familiar, but maybe not so much, right? He is the father of, let's get this here. Let's get it right. Get it right, get it tight. Of Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? That's Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend. Now, I'm just not being crazy and trying to connect some stretchy dots here. This is all matter of fact, and this is all by design. This is my interpretation, right? So back to the education system. So Robert Maxwell in 89, he was a publisher, self-made billionaire, self-made. So was Jeffrey Epstein, self-made. I don't know if you know this, but Jeffrey Epstein hit the Powerball, or the Mega Millions, one or two, twice. Is that a coincidence? So self-made billionaire. So we'll keep saying that. So in 89, he decides to partner with this company, and they begin to produce children's books. So McGraw-Hill produced children's books. Now it's well documented that the education system, right, kind of alters history. So when you alter history and all you're being taught is what's in a book, you can change the perception of what really happened. If not, just totally ignore the truths of what happened, because you're only going to tell your version of a truth. And that's what's been going on. And that's the issue. We have all been brainwashed. Have you ever noticed in the real world how certain historical aspects that you grew up learning, you realize, damn, that's not what we learned in school, because it was bullshit. It's a lie. You always said this. You only learn real history after you get out of school and you go seek the knowledge. You almost quite literally need to be a researcher. You got to go out to the certain areas. Sometimes you got to travel. You got to go to these areas and see it for yourself. You got to read old texts that weren't written by people trying to control you. Bible, anything Bible, all written for control. Do your research, guys. All, religions for that matter. It's a reality. Those are all meant for control. So if you think I'm full of shit, you just, come on, man. You got to be smarter than that. So the point is, it goes all the way back through time. People of the elite status trying to control people that are less elite, because we are the power that moves the machine. You can't be rich without someone doing the work. Someone's got to be rich, right? Someone's got to have everything. And then someone's got to actually do the work for everything to be given. That's how it works. So we work our entire fucking life till we're 65. Finally broken down 70, 65, 70, to finally hopefully have enough money to be able to retire and slow down and chill, to only not be able to retire, to have a second job working at Walmart giving out smiley faces because we can't make ends meet. What the fuck is that about? What the absolute fuck is that about? So we're going to go a lot of different places here, guys. And this is just one little avenue. We just stop by this one road and we're going to talk about the education system of McGraw-Hill. So McGraw-Hill has been known to be giving out misinformation. McGraw-Hill, if you think I'm bullshitting, McGraw-Hill lawsuit. Now, why would you sue a publication company for educational books? Why? Why would you do that? I'm going to tell you why. Based on recent development in late 2005, let's go to, I want you to see what I'm saying. Based on, this is just me just researching, I'm just Googling. Based on recent developments in 2005 and 2006, the primary McGraw lawsuit refers to massive civil action against Major Blaine McGraw, an Army genealogist accused of sexually assaulting and secretly recording hundreds of patients doing hospitals in Texas and Hawaii. Well, that is not the one. We don't want McGraw-Hill. So my bad, y'all. Wrong person. McGraw-Hill lawsuits. Lawsuits for misleading. Misleading information. There we go. So here we go. All right, this was a class action lawsuit. No, that's not the one either. I mean, they got a lot of damn lawsuits, obviously. Overcharging. No, McGraw Hill. And I guess this is the best way to put it, slavery. McGraw Hill to rewrite textbooks after mom's complaint. Okay. All right. So this made national news. All right. Now, could this be right? Believe half of what you see, none of what you hear. You know what they say. So here's the deal. This is on CNN. You can research it yourself. Right. So, all right. Textbook publisher McGraw Hill will rewrite section in one of its books after a Houston area mother complained that it whitewashed the role of slavery in bringing Africans to America. Ronnie Dean Burren took to Facebook last week to vent for frustration over the wording of a passage in her son's world geography textbook that calls African slaves workers, like we actually applied for the job and got hired. It's a little ridiculous, right? And immigrants. The Atlantic slave trade brought millions of workers. This is a quote from the book. Notice the nuanced language there. Workers implies wages. That's true. It implies you got applied for a job and you're going to get paid for the job. Yes, she wrote. Dean Buren's post gathered a lot of attention, and subsequent videos sparked spirited feedback and had drawn 1.4 million page views on Facebook as of Sunday. So the point is, now I want you to imagine this. Just imagine. Imagine your kids going through school for however many years learning that slavery was a job. It was, blacks applied for the job and they got paid for it because that's the programming. And I think you begin to program someone's child, or a child's programming begins at like age of 4, if I'm not mistaken. So you start to say things, you reinforce things, and they start to believe whatever it is that you are telling them. So it's really hard to change that perception once you've kind of been, enveloped in an environment where you've been given a lot of misinformation. That is a problem, and that starts in the textbooks. That starts in the school system. It starts at home, and it's a never-ending cycle, right? So if the parent was taught this nonsense, they're going to teach their kids this nonsense, and the school's reinforcing the nonsense. So in the kids' eye, guess what? They go out in the real world. It's all nonsense. That if it's not exactly what they've been taught. So if you tell them, hey, slavery was bad, it was forced on people, it's not good. Well, that's not what I was told in my house. That's not what I was taught in school. That, you see the conflict? Now, and that's where you get into heated debates. That's when you get people being called racist, because it's not so much their fault, but these are the things that they have been taught. They have to be untaught this. And this is what we go through here in America. The marginalized people are seen as less than. So, and then you make the atrocities that you performed against them seem like it was no big deal. It was just a job. They worked. That's what we're dealing with, right? So that was Mr. Robert Maxwell. Now, here's the scary part about Robert Maxwell, which makes me bring this whole subject matter up, right? It wouldn't be a big deal if he was just involved in some misleading text. We deal with that. We deal with racism. We deal with people just ignoring, ethnic groups when it comes to jobs, or we overcome a lot of nonsense that we have to deal with when your skin has a tint to it, right? When you have some melanin. But here's where it gets really diabolical. Robert Maxwell supposedly is a self-made billionaire. That's what they said. But if you go back, let's go back. Especially since the Epstein files. Now, Epstein files have opened a scab that just will not heal. So many questions, and it's a festering cesspool of pus and blood, and it just needs to be squeezed out. And right now it's not. They're trying to hide it. They're hoping that it goes away, and they're hoping people stop asking questions. But the more the more they say that, the more they do that, the more questions are asked. So Robert Maxwell and his I bet you it'll finish it. Connection to Israel. Now, this is not me saying it. This is in the Epstein's files. I would have never even known about this dude. I would have never even known about her being, she was a billionaire. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein being a billionaire. She was a billionaire. All from a lot of fraud and deception and espionage. So let's look at Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell, the British media tycoon and father of Ghislaine Maxwell, had deep, controversial, and long-standing ties to Israel. It's funny how it all comes back to Israel, with allegations suggesting he was a high-level agent for the Israeli intelligence agency, which is the Mossad. Right there, the Mossad. These connections ranged from providing crucial military assistance in 1948 to allegedly spying for the state in the decades that followed. Key connections and allegations: in 1948, war assistance. Maxwell is credited with providing covert support, including smuggling aircraft parts, which helped Israel secure air superiority during its war of independence. Mossad ties. Former Israeli intelligence officer Ari Ben Minesh claimed that Maxwell was a longtime Mossad agent. This is supported by allegations that he assisted in the global distribution of a bugged version of the Promise software for Israeli intelligence. So it's already being rumored, it's all speculation, that Israel has been spying on the United States at the highest levels and the lowest levels. They want to know everything about everybody. And they're all for a, what is the word? Where you constantly are monitored. It's kind of what China does, cameras everywhere. They monitor everything you do, which brings me back to the education system, right? So you can go on and read this if you want, but I'm trying to make a point so we can move on to the next topic. So you not only have his influence on textbooks and what we learn and how we're taught and how we're programmed, because that's exactly what it is. But how about a company called LifeTouch? Have you ever heard of a company called LifeTouch? You ever heard of LifeTouch? You ever heard of Picture Day in school? Yeah. Everyone's heard of Picture Day. Everybody gets ready for Picture Day. Everyone loves them pictures. Everyone loves Picture Day. Well, LifeTouch is responsible for the pictures, right? They are. Well, LifeTouch was written a few times in the Epstein files. Why is that? Well, LifeTouch does a lot more than you think. They don't just take your kids' photos. I want you to honestly think about this. When your kids came home and it's Picture Day, they had a little packet, right? The packet included name, address, phone number, school, everything personal, including your child's photo. And it's archived forever. Wow. That's interesting, right? Real interesting. So what is LifeTouch and why is it so pertinent to this conversation? Well, LifeTouch is owned by, let's go here. Who is LifeTouch owned by? Let's go. Let's do some more research. Who owns school photos and LifeTouch pages? Epstein file fallout. Yeah, we know that. All right, let's see what they're saying about LifeTouch. Oh, Lifey Touchy. All right, so LifeTouch, the school photography company, is not named is not named in Epstein files and has been denied any involvement. Yeah, of course it has, but it has been named in the Epstein files. So let's not go by that because that's a bunch of bullshit. Let's go by what we know. Let's go with this Reddit post. Let's check out this Reddit post because your real news. You're not gonna find the real news on the news. You're gonna find the real news on these secular, like news platforms. Like you got Reddit, you got TikTok, you got Twitter. That's where you're gonna find the real shit. And then these obscure, blog posts and stuff of that nature. So it's just reality. So schools across the country are canceling Picture Day because the CEO of the largest school photography company taking children's pictures, Lifetouch, was named in the Epstein files. Does Lifetouch have contracts within Austin? Of course they do. They have Lifetouches everywhere. It's all over. All right, let's do some more research, guys. Lifetouch. And what was said in Epstein files? See, we're doing this real time, y'all. It's not just me yappity yapping. This is real time. Let's go here. Let's look at this video. This will be interesting.
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. Roughly.
Well, this is a story trending nationwide right now. A Northern California school district is reassuring parents, and others are canceling School Picture Day, all because of a rumor being circulated online. It linked the Epstein files and one of the nation's largest school photography companies.
Reporter Tim Johns from our sister station in the Bay Area explains the new Picture Day privacy debate.
Lifetouch, one of the most prominent school photography companies in the country, is facing district investigations and canceled school photo days. It's all because of an unsubstantiated rumor spreading online. It claims the former CEO of Lifetouch's ownership group, who was named in the Epstein files, may have accessed children's photos. The rumors have caused concern among parents.
Think about that, y'all. If Epstein was intertwined in every fiber of everything going on in the world, and he loved children according to everything in the Epstein files, he's a pedophile. That's documented. What better way? It was like a buffet, right? It was like a menu. Oh, how about this one? Oh, that's what he had access to. This is insane.
Around the country, from Texas.
Talking to my mom, she said that Lifetouch took my pictures whenever I was little. So this has been going on for decades, where no one really thought anything of it until we started thinking about, okay, wait, who actually is seeing these pictures instead of just the parents?
To here in California. Just this week, a school district in Salinas sent this letter to families addressing the rumor and saying it was untrue. Lifetouch, too, has responded, releasing a statement which reads in part, Lifetouch is not named in the Epstein files. The documents contain no allegations that Lifetouch itself was involved in or that student photos were used in any illicit activities.
At this point, I don't believe none
Despite
of these motherfuckers. They're going to say whatever they want to save their
other
ass.
Concerns
It's all
have
bullshit.
emerged too. Specifically, conversations around data privacy and how your information and photos might be used.
You want to know who owns those photos, and that's typically done by contract, and what can be done with the photos later between you and the photographer.
Stephen Clark is a South Bay-based attorney. He says it's important to read the fine print on consent forms for things like school photo shoots. Tech expert Ahmed Banafa agrees, especially given the chance of a data breach.
About 5 million pictures being sold on the dark web in 2023.
Banafa says Lifetouch has taken important steps to ensure its data isn't shared with third parties. He also says in California, consumers are protected legally.
This privacy law in California is new, so it's really taking into consideration all the advancements in technology.
How does anyone know?
Lifetouch says you can fill out a form to request to have your child's data deleted if you choose. In San Francisco, Tim Johns, ABC 7 Eyewitness.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, y'all. I told you. I mean, who's got access to these photos and his name and that name was mentioned in the goddamn Epstein files? Are we serious? Let's look at this one. LifeTouch released a statement to whatever. I don't believe your damn statements, LifeTouch. Let's see what other videos lurk on the web. Let's see. Let us see the videos. Let's see. Let's check this out. What are they saying about LifeTouch? The touch of life.
Picture Day. Here's why. LifeTouch, the nation's largest school photography company, is facing scrutiny over its parent company Shutterfly's ties to Leon Black, the former CEO of Apollo Global Management, which acquired Shutterfly in 2019. Black had a long-running relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, including both financial and social connections, which has recently come back into...
So, Leon Black, who owned Apollo Global, which sold to Shutterfly. So, more than likely, they sold to Shutterfly because Leon Black knew that the heat was on and Epstein was going to turn up the heat on everybody involved. And he had a long-standing relationship with Epstein. It's mighty funny how you own access to kids' photos and the world's most prolific pedophile, your friends. It's just weird. The connection is uncanny.
The spotlight after the release of the Epstein files. According to CNN, Black has faced essay allegations from multiple women, including claims that some incidents were facilitated by Epstein, which Black has denied. In response, dozens of petitions nationwide are urging school districts to reconsider their contracts with LifeTouch out of caution. LifeTouch has responded to these allegations, saying it's not named in the files and has no connection to Epstein's crimes, emphasizing that its focus remains on student privacy and safety. Still, for some families, the corporate link has raised concerns and, in certain districts, even led to the cancellation of Picture Day. What do you think? Are school districts right to reconsider these contracts? To read or sign one of these petitions, head to the link in bio. Several school districts all across...
What do I think? I mean, I'm not shocked by any of this shit now, right? How can you be shocked by it? Schools in partnership with LifeTouch? Good. What does this say? Are schools driving LifeTouch? Let's see what this young lady's got. Let's see what this young lady got to say.
Are freaking out after learning that LifeTouch, the company that comes to children's schools every year to take their picture, could have associations with Jeffrey Epstein.
They are in the Epstein files. LifeTouch, the company that has been doing our kids' school photos for years.
Here's where that concern could be coming from. LifeTouch is owned by Shutterfly, which was acquired in 2019 by private equity firm Apollo Global Management. Apollo was co-founded by billionaire Leon Black. Leon Black stepped down as CEO of Apollo in 2021 after scrutiny over his financial ties to Jeffrey Epstein. It's worth noting that Apollo Global Management is huge. Today, they oversee a massive portfolio of more than 190 companies, including Shutterfly. But despite its massive size and the fact that Leon Black is not the owner of LifeTouch, this hasn't stopped many parents online from trying to connect the dots. The backlash grew so intense that the CEO of LifeTouch released a public statement. So that's pretty much the bulk of this. And while the panic may have been fueled by misinformation, there is one takeaway. In 2026, parents are looking closer than ever at who's holding their kids' data and why.
Damn right. I mean, how else can you protect your kids? You got to let them out there in the world, right? You got to get them educated. But you know what? I'll never make fun of any homeschool kid again in my life because we used to call them, you know, just weirdos, right? Oh, you're just doing something just no one else is doing. Why are you getting educated at home? How'd your parents even know? Well, oh my God, I feel like a fool because they knew. They knew to get the right information in their kids' heads, they have to do it themselves because the schools are not going to do it. The only thing that's missing, the only one thing I would say that would be missing from homeschooling is the social influence, like the social experience. Right, because if you don't really know how to handle yourself around other people, you become a little bit awkward. But it's in terms of education and understanding what really goes on, homeschooling. Now, granted, some homeschoolers could be just homeschooling, you know, some white supremacy or even black supremacy. You know, just you don't want to be that person. You want to educate people on real historical events, how they affect people, and how your influence on people affect people and where you fit into that. Those are the things. Obviously, math, science, reading, arithmetic, stuff like that. Those are important, but the other things are important too. So I just want to say that. Anyway, so Epstein's a piece of garbage. We all know. He was involved with so many things. So many things. Now, the next topic I think I want to go to is what the flock is going on with Israel. All right, you see my mug. Let's go here. Let's check out some stuff here because I am like, have you seen this hypersonic missile? Oh, my mother flipping goodness. Let's see if we can find this on here. Let's go hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic. Supersonic. Hypersonic missile. This thing is fucking crazy. Now you gotta hear this. Let me big screen that, Mark. We're gonna play it again. I want you to hear it and then watch it. Who's fucking with that? Who is literally fucking with that?
All right, listen to that song. Shaking it. I don't know what. Ah!
Whoa, did you see that? That was fast. That looked.
Ah, look how you run. All right, listen to that song.
This is fucking crazy.
Shaking it. I don't know what. Ah!
Whoa, did you see that? That was fast. That looked.
Ah, look how you run. All right, listen to that song. Shaking it. I don't know what. Ah!
Whoa, did you see that? That was fast. That looked.
Ah, look how you run. All right, listen to that song.
What is going on? Yeah, look at this shit.
Look at that. Oh God. Tel Aviv. I can't believe this.
I don't know if this is AI, but I'd like to think that it's not. Well, or think that it is because nobody really wants anybody to go through this war. It's just not.
I can't believe this.
It's not optimal.
Look at that. Oh God. Tel Aviv. I can't believe this.
Crazy. The crazy shit out there right now. It's what's going on in Iran. Now, to be quite honest, I do not support the attack on Iran. I do not support boots on the ground. I do not support Americans' involvement in this. It just really upsets me, right? Really does. But there's so many other things out there that are upsetting that we need to worry about here in the States. One of them is this topic right here, which
meat, unless you literally are getting it from a farm. In fact, a good portion of it is all human meat.
Now, let me just go on record and say this. I don't know the exact number, right? But what does it say on McDonald's sign? Right? What does it say? McDonald's sign says billion served, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me look it up. McDonald's sign. Just curious. McDonald's. Mickey Adana's sign says billions. McDonald's iconic signs historically updated the number of burgers sold, moving from 1 million in 1958 to 1 billion in 63. But billions and billions served. So, all right, yeah. So that's see, it doesn't even say burgers. I wonder if one time it did say burgers. And that's scary. And that plays into this. It says billions and billions served.
It's all human. The amount of people killed, sacrificed, ground up, and fed back to you is more than the cattle that's on the earth. Let's put it that way.
Very believable. McDonald's does not own one cattle farm. Wouldn't you expect a company that sells that many burgers to own cattle farms? Right? It would only make sense. Like if I was a landscaper, right, and I cut grass, on a large scale, you'd expect me to probably own a lot of lawn mowing equipment, or I might even invest in a lawn mowing facility where I produced lawn mowing equipment, because that's what I do, right? And you'd expect that, but I don't.
You would steer clear of any type of ground meat unless you literally are getting it from a farm where they process their food right there and then, in which case, really it's usually a farm. They've got a little store there. They've got, their own package system, their own meat system. Short of that, we wouldn't recommend any type of ground meat to be consumed if you're concerned with whether you're participating in cannibalism or not. And the biggest issue, besides the obvious, for most people, moral issue of eating another human being, is the energy behind it. And also, your bodies are not designed to consume each other, so they cause it causes health problems as well, and things of that nature. And we know that you all have participated in it so far in your lives. Everybody's been eating this stuff. Everybody's been eating the fast food hamburgers. Everybody's been eating the ground up stuff and things like that. But we're just telling you that it's mostly human meat. It's mostly human meat. And a lot of it is other animals as well that you don't realize that they get rid of when they euthanize animals. And that's the hard truth. Most of the celebrities, the high-ranking celebrities, politicians, and things of that nature, they're on a purely cannibalistic diet. All of the meat that they eat are humans. And so they've got human meat processing plants.
Oh, my God.
And they're not very hidden. They're pretty much, broadcast and out in the open. It's just that nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that while they're lined up in the line to get their fast food burgers through the drive-through. Okay? But that is a truth, and you all get to make a decision. You all are always able to make decisions as to what changes are you going to make. What changes are you going to make? Because on the moral aspect, okay, but there's the energy aspect. If we are all one, and you're literally eating yourselves, okay? On the energy aspect, there is no humane way to kill someone or something. There's no such thing. That's the stupidest thing anybody's ever exclaimed, ever, okay? Ever, okay? And so all of the fear and the stress that shoots through a body while it's being killed, because most of it isn't even painless in any way, shape, or form. There's trauma, massive trauma involved in it, that gets physically embodied, actualized and embodied, and then you're eating that fear. It's an extremely low conscious aspect, and that gets fully integrated into your body on a visceral level and your brain. And it literally prevents brain activity, and it instills Alzheimer's and dementia.
That's horrible.
In fact, a good portion of it is all human meat.
Human
all
meat.
Human. It's all human.
Rabbi Finkelstein, I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's probably about 20 years or so ago. Rabbi Finkelstein was on an interview on a radio station talking about him, how he claimed, yes, the Jews, we We kill the kids and we drain the blood and eat it on Passover, and we give the body to our favorite meat processing plant. McDonald's is our favorite. He said that. Go Google Rabbi Finkelstein. I don't know how to spell that, so you figure it out. Go Google that. You can hear it for yourself. Now, again, don't know how true any of that is. It's a lot of speculation, but that's what they said. That's all I'm saying. That what was it.
Public a very simple question. He says McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in a single day, yet he has never seen any massive cow farms, cow rearing centers, or large slaughter facilities where huge numbers of cows are kept and killed to produce all that beef.
So I was curious the other day and found this online. McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in one single day. That's 195 million burgers a month. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see cows lined up around every corner waiting to be turned into patties. I mean, seriously, do the math. Even if you stretched one cow into a bunch of burgers, you're still talking millions of cows just to keep up. Every day. So I started asking myself, where are all these cows coming from? Is there some secret super ranch hidden underground? Are they growing cows in labs, cloning meat behind closed doors? People laugh it off, but think, when was the last time you even saw a cow farm?
This man is asking the public a very simple question. He says McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in a single day, yet he has...
These are all logical questions, y'all. Right? All logical. I don't know, but it got me sick in the stomach thinking that I participated in this bullshit. What the hell? It helps my neck. That's funny. Ooh, this is interesting.
Studies that looked at COVID-19 vaccines and cancer risk both found massive increases in multiple cancers. And these two studies, one of them's from Italy, right? One of them followed 300,000 Italians for about 30 months. That was the first one that found about 23% increased risk of overall cancer hospitalizations. And they also found increases about 40 to 60% increases in breast cancer hospitalizations, in colorectal cancer, as well as bladder cancer and leukemia and lymphoma. Now we have this new study that just came out out of South Korea that looked at over 8 million Koreans and looked at the cancer risks after vaccination there, and they corroborated the Italian data and even expanded on it, and they found about 26% increase in overall cancer.
Damn.
But they also
COVID
found
vaccine,
increases across
fucking
6
Trojan horse.
major types of cancer, including gastric, thyroid, colorectal, breast. All sorts of cancers were increased, very rare cancers.
They said
so
that
this is an absolute disaster,
you know,
and
birth
it
control for
corroborates
women,
all the
is a major cause for brain
evidence.
tumors.
It's now confirmed that these
That's some
shots
scary
have
shit.
unleashed
Everything that they do is
turbo
made to kill
cancer
us
epidemic.
or to control
Data
our
sets
reproduction.
corroborate,
It just
and
population
we
control
can
in
now
general.
explain it with the gene expression chaos we are seeing, as documented
Bill
in
Gates.
our other studies, as well as the genomic integration we are seeing in stage 4 cancer patients. This is a disaster. This has to be acknowledged immediately.
Damn.
Guess who owns the history books? Those tiny hats over here. And when we look at who owned all the slaves and were the slave traders and the auctioneers, tiny hats. And who owned the newspapers? Tiny hats. And then who also created the division? Oh, I think you're starting to understand it. And then you also find about the exploitation of the slaves and how they treated people. Obviously, they're not going to tell anybody this part. And then it also gets interesting when you find out that the tiny hats were defending that they should stay slaves.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
And people would say, no, that would never happen, really. Slave dealing was an extremely profitable business.
Absolutely it was.
And this is where it always ties back to the Rothschilds, like I've always talked about. Even Malcolm X talked about this. People should look into this.
And a Negro is not anti-Semitic when he says that the man who's exploiting him in his community is white, because it is a white man who owns all the stores. Now, is it an accident that these whites who own these stores are Jewish? If it's an accident, then the fact that he says the Jew on the corner is exploiting me isn't an anti-Semitic statement. It's just more descriptive of the man who's exploiting him.
That's right. Malcolm X was a genius. Wasn't always starting off. I mean, he was a smart guy. Didn't always start out that way. He became enlightened when he went to Mecca, and saw that the Muslims weren't just black. There were Muslims of all nationalities. It kind of opened his eyes to, you know, his belief in the things that he was taught. And, you know, that's usually what happens. If you grew up in a secluded society or secluded household, you're taught one thing, next thing you know, oh, blacks are bad or Mexicans are bad. And you go in the real world and you meet blacks and you meet Mexicans. And you realize that, oh, they ain't bad. I mean, there's good and bad people, but as a whole, they're not bad. So everything you've been taught kind of gets questioned. And you see it for yourself. You see it as an adult, and you make your own assumptions once you experience life. That's how it works. See what this is saying? Italian scientists find enzyme clearing arterial plaque, reversing heart disease without surgery. Well, damn it. Why don't they let that release? Because you can't make money if it's, well, it ain't free. I'll guarantee it ain't free. Oh my God. What did he just do? Toilet water? Oh. Oh, I love this. I've seen this. You guys got to check this out.
And Bill and Hillary Clinton, it's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press
now, I don't
to
think
go
this
look
is
at
AI.
these allegations.
I've seen this too many times.
And
It
I'm
doesn't
highly
seem that. It seems
disturbed
like
that
he
Deputy
actually
Attorney General
said this
Todd
shit
Blanche just got
on
the
C-SPAN.
law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now who were girls at the time who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to a minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
Jesus. Freaking ridiculous. Now, I find this funny as hell, and this is going to be the last thing we talk about, because it's just funny. It's just funny. I'm laughing at everybody. It's just funny as All right, y'all, listen. I appreciate y'all, whoever, wherever, tuning in, because you know what, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. And we're gonna come back with some other stuff. I just got so much to do today. I could have spent more time delving deeper into different things. I don't want to do that right now because I got shit to do. And I know you do too. So I appreciate you tuning in again. Like, follow, subscribe. There'll be a lot more coming. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Kik. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, Twitch. All my platforms, man. Come on. Fuck yeah, follow me, subscribe.